Imagine we had a time machine and you and I could get snug inside there and teleport ourselves back to 2021. Not just any point in 2021, but this specific point here. This is the Dogecoin graph. Of course, it still is the biggest meme coin in the world, but back then it was the #1 meme coin and it did crazy things. If we switch to market cap, drag us back once again in that time machine down to 2021, you can see the market cap here is $1.2 billion. This flat line on the left-hand side of the graph is already over $1 billion. And if you held from 25th of Jan to the 8th of Feb, not long, 2 weeks, you would have had a nice 10x on our money. Well, we'll have a 10x on our money after we take that time machine back and put our money in. And I mean, you could put any amount in. The amount of liquidity here, like you could literally put $10 million into this coin and take it out happily at $100 million. Dogecoin, the #1 meme of the last cycle, then sat around that $6 to $10 billion level. And a lot of people are like, why are we still holding it at a $6 billion market cap? That seems crazy. Well, no, it's not crazy. Because the Grand Papi pump came after that, up to $40 billion, and then up to, it says $73 billion here, but at the peak of the wick of the candle, it was $94 billion. You had another 10x to go while it was sitting down here at that $8 to $9 billion range. And it's obvious in hindsight that this happened, but not everyone caught onto it, at least early enough in the last cycle. And so there's good news and bad news. One, unfortunately, I don't actually have a time machine. But what I do have, and I have to be careful with my wording here because YouTube took down my last SPX6900 video based on unrealistic claims. But look at everything that Doge just did. Of course it's unrealistic before it happens, and then it happens and it's like, oh, it was silly for us to miss this. I have what a lot of people think, including myself. It's my #1 crypto holding at the moment. I've been talking about it for a while now, so I've been very much marinating on these facts. The next Dogecoin opportunity, if the cycle is to play out as it predicts. And it's of course the SPX6900. And in this video, I'm going to go through two massive factors that once they click for me, made it obvious for me to see the potential of this token. But of course, before we do that, make sure you have the Archie Solana wallet. It's by far the best way to buy and sell any token on the Solana blockchain. If you like trading meme coins, go and grab yourself the Archie wallet. It's so much superior than trading on a centralized exchange, so much more superior to trading on Phantom. We're fully licensed, fully audited, the fastest, most user-intuitive, fun way you could possibly trade. Let me show you what we're talking about. I'm going to come over here to the DEX screener page. We're going to find a token on Solana like the JMP6900. You go down and you click on the contract address. You can get the contract address or even just the ticker symbol of any Solana token. Open up your Archie bot, and I'll leave the link in the description below to make sure you get the right one, and paste that in, and it will literally go and fetch that token for you. If you want to buy, you can simply click in one click. And for any token on Archie, we have this awesome thing. It's in our affiliate program where you can have custom links. So this SPX token, you can literally, I'll put the link in the bottom below this video. If you click on that link, it's going to prompt you to open your Archie. And once he's funded, you can literally buy with one click. Go and buy the official SPX6900 wormhole token, which is the Solana version of the ETH. And you can literally go and have Archie buy that so simply, so easily. You can view it anytime in your portfolio, and it's going to show you how much you're up or down. Here we go. There's my SPX holdings right there. So if you're not trading on Archie yet, what are you waiting for? Come and join us. The best way to possibly trade. Go grab yourself a wallet, totally free to download, put some money in there, and tell me how you enjoy it in the comments below. Now, the first massive point in the SPX6900, to think that it might be able to get, might have to be careful with my words, remember, to a $100 billion market cap, to become bigger than Doge was in the last cycle, you need two things. You need it to become a shelling point, which I'm not saying selling point with a lisp, I'm saying shelling point, which I'm going to talk to you about in this video. And you also need it to be the right sturdiness of a vehicle. And I'm going to show you both of those things and why SPX6900 nails it. And I think it's going to be the Doge of this cycle. So Murad is obviously where I get most of my theses from. If you haven't gone and followed him on Twitter, go give him a follow. He says the SPX6900 is going to evolve into a game theoretic shelling point of global meme coin investors who want to hold rather than trade, who want something to genuinely believe in, and to do this together with other like-minded and good-hearted people. It's a finance punk movement. Now, what does he mean by shelling point? Because it's a game theory, and I've been studying it since studying Murad, and basically this image is 80-20 of what you need to know. Have a look at this. Problem 1, pick a square. If we both select, me and you, the same square, we win $20. Of course, you've got A to F, 1 to 6 above here, and a variety of colors in those squares. Of course, the obvious answer, the shelling point of the square is A6, the red square, because it's the one that stands out. It's the conclusion that we can independently come to without having to communicate, and we all land on the same conclusion. And that's what Doge was in the last cycle. Every normie, every mainstream, every retail money landed on the funny token with the dog as a logo, because that was the red square in crypto. And this lovely graphic will really help you understand why that is so important. So there's 3 aspects of this that I whipped together for you. The first is the adoption curve. This is the adoption curve of any technology, automobiles to electricity to the internet to social media. You're always going to follow this bell curve where you're going to have the innovators, the developers, the real early people who are trend setting, getting in first. Then you're going to have the early adopters. I'm basically somewhere between an innovator or an earlier side of early adopter, I've historically felt. And then early majority comes late, and I'll get to this in a second, but this is where 90% of the capital actually is. In early majority, late majority, and the laggards. You know, there's some people who still don't have a driver's license or drive cars. There's still some people who still don't have electricity or don't have air conditioning. They don't want it. They don't want to adopt those technologies. They are the laggards. There's people who will probably die without ever owning Bitcoin. They're the laggards. And then you have the people who were there in 2010, 2011, innovating. And this works in every single bit of technology, including the adoption of meme coins. But what I've added here, and what I've realized recently, is in the blue over here, the early adopters and the innovators, they're the only people who are actually doing the thinking. They're the people who are literally creating the pathways for everybody in early majority, late majority, and the laggards to follow like sheep. And if you're watching this video now, you're very highly likely in the innovator or early adopter category. Once everyone's cousins and sisters and grandmas and granddads and fiancés, babies, dog walkers, fish keepers, aunties are asking you, oh, what is SPX6900? That is when you know the late majority is here. Now, the most important thing to understand about this is the decisions will be made before the majority gets there. And that's why we're talking about SPX6900, because it's now already ascended into a top 5 meme coins, the top meme coin of this cycle already. And where's the majority of the money held? Well, it's actually not held with the innovators and early adopters. Despite the ratio here, it's probably 1 to 2% of the population. And therefore, most of the money is in the 98% of the population because there's so many of them. And so 90% of the capital is still to come. But the decisions were dependent upon what happened before they arrived. And at the moment, the market has already decided the top meme coin of this cycle is the SPX6900. And therefore, it may very well become the obvious red square to ape into once they get a whiff of the meme coin supercycle. And at the moment, this is where they're at. They're feeling the problem, but they're not feeling a solution. And the problem is the cost of living crisis. If you go on TikTok, if you go on Reddit, if you even go on the right sort of algorithms on the other social platforms like maybe Facebook or X, you're going to see people complaining about holding down 3 jobs, the cost of living going up, rent being absurd, people buying makeup for like 4 hours of work in order to buy a week's worth of makeup. It is absolutely crazy, and people don't know what to do. All they know is that they hate the traditional financial system. And they don't know that there's a new mimetic financial system based on nothing but belief like the SPX6900. But once they start to hear about it, they're not going to be looking at market caps. Retail, normies do not care about market caps. They're going to come in and see what has already done well. In fact, something I've been studying recently is how price is the biggest signal. And the majority of people in that literally middle of that bell curve will want to see what's already performed well. If I'm like, oh my God, I just made $100,000, my friend would be like, oh, from what coin? I'll be like, oh, Dogecoin. And then like, Doge? Okay, cool. I'm going to get some myself. They don't care if the market cap is already at 50 bill, $60 billion. It's like a pokey machine. They're like, oh, that's the lucky pokey. That's the name of the meme coin that's making everyone rich. Let me get some now. I'm sure it'll start paying out. They think it is all luck. They don't see this as an actual climb in market cap as more and more adopters come and hold it. But what they can see is they'll come to the top meme coins. Doge and Shiba are still riding the highs of the last cycle. And I think they will do well because they are also just some obvious buys. When crypto runs, Doge is probably going to run. I mean, it still holds $26 billion of value in there. Pepe was sort of mid-cycle. It's not in the 2025 super cycle. I think it was a 2022 or 2023 sort of coin between the both bull runs, and it's done well. Trump's obviously just put his weight behind a coin and his name behind a coin. It's done well. But the two biggest performers in this cycle are SPX6900 and Farcoin. And weirdly, I think Farcoin is almost a similar narrative, where it's a middle finger to traditional finance. Everyone's like, buy gold, buy bonds, invest in the S&P 500, where you're getting a cross-section of the top 500 companies in the world, but which don't really even out-earn monetary inflation. And Farcoin is like, oh, I just made $1 million. How'd you do that? Farcoin. It really is a middle finger to traditional thinking, as the SPX6900 is, because the only logic and the only reason why SPX6900 is better than S&P 500 is because 6900 is a bigger number than 500. It's not backed by massive companies and millions of really smart employees. It's backed by belief and basically people looking for an alternative asset. But that takes me to the second factor, because this asset has to be able to hold the people when they arrive. If everyone just invests in a honeypot and can't get their money out, it's just a big scam, it's not going to take off and reach that $100 billion or $1 trillion level. But if you know Murad and you know his famous display photo, you think it might be, I don't even know, a pride sort of circular flag or something. Most people don't know. This is the distribution visualized of the perfect meme coin, a decentralized token where everyone holds the exact same amount. And yet that amount is like 0.001% of supply, because I've been trading meme coins in the trenches recently, like 100K sort of market cap degenerate things. And what you'll see is people who get in the 10K market cap and they put in $100. Once it gets to that 100K market cap, they've made $1,000 and they're trying to sell that. And there's all this sell pressure, and all these whales who are 5, 6 to 10% of the supply, they keep selling their tokens into all the new buyers, even if the narrative's funny, even if the meme coin is funny, and everyone's like, oh, this is going to be really big just because it's way funnier than something like Pepe. Like Pepe to me is not hilarious, but some of these meme coins I'm seeing in the trenches are hilarious, especially if they got to the top, but they can't make it to the top because there's all these whales that keep bringing down the price anytime it tries to go up. And that's why Murad talks about the most decentralized meme coins are the ones that are going to take off sustainably over long term. And something like SPX6900 has been around for over a year, and everyone who doesn't believe in the mission has already sold and made their profits, handing their bags, which get divided into smaller distributions and spread across more and more people, hundreds of thousands of people. They're getting put into the wallets of bigger and bigger believers. Murad says you want to see a high median holder rank and a low HHI. And you can see HHI is the Herfindahl-Hirschman index. And if you get a score of 0, it means you have that perfectly even concentration, just like in Murad's profile photo. And you can see out of all the popular meme coins, SPX6900 has the best distribution, the closest to 0 by quite a wide margin. And therefore, when these masses of people are coming into this token, it's a lot harder for it to dump in price. Even this metric is fascinating. Percent of whales who have never sold a single coin, because this measures the belief, the conviction of people who have bought in and they're not looking to trade, they're just looking to hold and ride this to that $50, $100 billion level. And you can see SPX both on Ethereum and Solana are the two highest percentages. This tweet here sums it up perfectly. Everything going according to plan. Weak hands flushed, strong hands accumulate. This is where real wealth is earned. If you don't believe in the mission and you want to make your $5,000 instead of being part of the biggest counterculture play in history, well, you can make your $5,000 and sell. You're the part of the weak hands. Your strong hands are accumulating. They're the ones who believe this could be the next Dogecoin of the cycle. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Download Archie to start trading your meme coins. And I've got a lot of awesome SPX6900 content coming to you, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're not trading on Solana with Archie yet, let me know why in the comments, or just go download him and test him out. I guarantee he's the best way to possibly trade these meme coins. Easiest, friendliest, funnest, most user-intuitive, safest, quickest. We're covering it in every single category, and you should see some of the features we are about to drop. So I super appreciate you being an Archie user. I'll see you in the next video.